Hi there, I'm Milo Sipka, and this is the Apatros Action 52 Masochist. Let me just activate the cheats. Okay, that's 1, 2, cheat number 3. These are Game Genie cheats, by the way. I'm using a FC Ultra for my emulator for the Action 52. This game does not work on NES. Now, in this episode, we'll take a look at game number 36, Storm Over the Desert. Cool title screen. Now, this is a tank sim, the only one of its kind on this multicart. Your enemy type are those pink Iraqi T-72s and infantry. No bosses. Info that Saddam Hussein looks like a boss. 9 levels. I made a full run and my high score was 11,450 points. You know, over the course of doing this project, wherein I review each and every game on this multicard comprehensively, I have at times wondered whether I was doing the right thing. I mean, there are others out there who've also done this. But this very game, is proof that positive that I made the right choice. Now you're probably wondering, okay, what evidence you have, Miller, other than the fact you're a masochist? Well, I'll explain it henceforth. And before I do, yes, I'm indeed a masochist, but only into watching awful movies and playing awful games. However, I also love good movies and games. The only reason I'm concentrating on the crap ones right now is because I'm doing these reviews in order from worst to best. So my viewing and playing experience is literally getting better with each movie I watch or each game I play. Life should get better, not worse. Anywho, Storm Over the Desert is a tank sim, the only one on this multicart, and one of very few tank sims on the home gaming consoles of the day. I mean, there were some for the MS-DOS platform like the campaign games, but anyway. Now this particular game has more modern equivalents of later generations of Action 52. The Genesis version had not one but 3, well technically. Starting with Norman, which is a direct 16-bit remake of Storm Over the Desert, where you just play a tank just shooting down enemy tanks. Armor Battle, which is a 2-player tank deathmatch, and in that multicart's best game, Skirmish, which is a military-themed tabletop war game, and the most sophisticated game in the multicart. There was a direct remake of Storm Over the Desert for the Action 52 Owns project, which was an indie project initiated in 2010 to make a genuinely good version of Action 52 multicart. But the project was abandoned due to some logistical problems, although they did result in some playable games made that you can download and play. Storm Over the Desert is also an 8-bit version of the real-life Operation Desert Storm, also known as the First Gulf War. Funny how these things happen too, eh? Which was a military operation by the United States and several allied nations to teach the Iraqi socialist despot Saddam Hussein a serious lesson in manners after he led his forces invade Kuwait. I won't go into the whole situation with the second time the United States invaded Iraq, because again the truth of that whole thing is slipperier than trying to catch a proverbial greased pig. Okay, well gameplay is simple. You're a tank, that grey one, that can sustain about 5 hits before you're kaput. Now contrary to what the angry video game nerd said in his infamous review video, you're not invincible here. Unless you use the Game Genie Infinite Energy Hacking cheat code like I did for my review. There has to be the one tank armored division, blasting shit out of Iraqi infantry mooks, which look like stick people holding grey triangles that's supposed to be Iraqi Tabuk assault rifles. In case you're wondering, the Tabuk was a Iraqi-made licensed knockoff of Yugoslav AK assault rifles, and the Kalashnikov concern considered Tabuk to be the worst AK cologne ever to exist, probably because they didn't cremline their barrels. And also turned the Iraqi T-72 tanks, which are inexplicably colored pink, probably as an insult to Iraqi tankers, into scrap metal. This game is also surprisingly gory for a game that's multicard, as shooting the infantry causes them to blow up in a bloody mess. Well, I guess that's what happens when you shoot someone with a tank shell. Now, for the secret, possibly the very first game reviewer to discover and document for humanity. Those giant Saddam Hussein figures that randomly run across the screen have been assumed by everybody else who had the courage to play this game as a typical Action 52 dev team fuck-up, as you can't kill these giant Saddams. Plus they disappear on their own a couple seconds after they appear. So why are they there? Well, they are in actuality 1-ups. Each time you let Saddam run into your tank, instead of taking damage, you actually get an extra life. How's that for a discovery? You're probably wondering by now how I figured that one out, eh? Well, after completing my playthrough of this game, which took nearly 56 minutes of masochistic enjoyment, it's also quite boring as your tank is slow to respond, and it's very hard to be able to accurately shoot an enemy tank as their movement is random. Again, the Action 52 boss AI code is in effect here, which doesn't make sense for 8-bit Soviet-designed main battle tanks painted in unflattering color. So it takes fucking ages and now enough baddies to advance to the next level. And there are 9 levels in total. Now I was watching for my run and noticed something weird. Each time I cleared the level, the number of lives I listed in the level start title screen had grown by random numbers. I started the game with the default 3 lives, but after being level 1 I had 5. I ran into 2 Saddams in level 1 as you saw. Then after being level 2 my lives increased to 7, again it led to Saddams touching me. And so on. I cross-referenced the number of... see? 7. I cross-referenced the number of lives and the number of times Saddam ran into me. Oh, and by the way, there is no limit to the number of lives you can have. Yep, just like Evil Empire. For each level, and by the end of my investigation, there was only one conclusion to draw. So I am perhaps the very first reviewer of Action 52 to discover this little secret and document it for posterity. Pretty neat, huh? Anywho, while that is an interesting discovery that can potentially put me in some kind of record books for being the first to confirm it, Storm of the Desert is not a good game. Well, not exactly. It's boring as hell. It technically plays better than most of the games I've already covered. And it's not as buggy as the previous games I've covered either. So I consider this as a below average game at best, with a D+, 3 out of 10. It's disappointing. Okay, hope you guys enjoy that. So I give Storm of the Desert a D+, which is a 3 out of 10. It's disappointingly mediocre. So basically below average. If you have any questions, comments, or associated trivia for this review subject, leave in the comments, I'll be happy to respond. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy that. This is the Apatros Action 52 Masochist signing off. And by the way, remember, when the storm comes over the desert, Saddam is your friend. Still can't believe I'm the first masochistic bastard to discover this one-up thing.